Hello, everyone. Looks like everyone is currently joining us on LinkedIn, so we'll give them just about 30 seconds as everybody's getting their calendar notices and clicking the button to open up that event. I see people joining over there. Right. While everyone is joining, I first will introduce myself, a little bit about the topic. Thank everyone. My name is Tricia Meyer. I'm the Executive Director of the Performance Marketing Association. And this topic that we have today was probably one of the most difficult panels to name of any session that we've ever had in the PMA. Because what started out as a very simple idea, which is there are a lot of us who have been in the industry a very long time who need to learn things from people who have not been in the industry as long. Went through a lot of iterations, old people learning from young people, veterans learning from newbies. Like, what is the way that we can say that we want to learn from you in a way that is not discriminatory toward the old people or toward the young people? So finally, thanks to the board, we came up with some fresh new next gen things like that hopefully everyone gets the drift. But thank you so much to the panelists for coming today. Each of you was kind of nominated or sponsored by somebody within the PMA who felt that you would be perfect for this panel and brought you to me. So I appreciate that. I'm going to let each of you introduce yourselves. For those of you who are watching us live on LinkedIn as well, please introduce yourselves. Tell us what you're hoping to learn today. Are you on the Tricia end of the spectrum and have been in the industry a little bit longer and hoping to learn some new things? Are you on the panelist end of the spectrum and maybe hoping to contribute some things to the LinkedIn? Or maybe just your besties, your sister, somebody like that is on the panel today and you've come here to support them. Totally fine too. Go ahead and give a shout out to your friends and family that are on the panel today. So let's start with Sophia.
Hi everyone, I'm Sofia Longo. I'm a Senior Partnerships Manager at Alta Media Partners, which is an affiliate management agency. I manage all of our affiliate partnerships to drive growth for our brands, and I also have hands-on experience working in social commerce, so managing brands on TikTok Shop. And I've been in the industry for about 2.5 years.
Terrific. Danielle.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Danielle. I'm an account manager at Dentsu. Work under Jade, who many of you may know if you're in the PMA loop. Also help across all client verticals, including finance, B2B, retail, all of the things. And we are on the cusp of diving more into a full social commerce portfolio.
Terrific. Izzy.
Hello, I'm Izzy Williams. I'm the brand and partnerships manager at Scooch, which is an e-commerce brand that makes unique and functional phone accessories. And I also help out with our social media, so I do feel especially equipped to answer some of these questions.
Terrific. And Mattia.
Hi everyone, my name is Mattia and I work for Sovrn. I'm an account manager. I've been in the industry for about 1 year now. I work in the commerce demand team. I manage around 50,000 brands and I help them to optimize their program with our publishers.
Perfect. Thank you all so much. And thanks to those of you who are introducing yourselves out there. I already see we have a nice wide range of people who are watching. Those of you who have questions when you're on LinkedIn, feel free to drop them into the LinkedIn comments. And as I can work them into the panelists, I'll get them worked into the panelists as well. So let's just start at the top. We all learned about affiliate marketing in very, very different ways. When I went to college, there was no affiliate marketing because there was barely an internet. So very different to our panelists today. So I'm curious for those of you, a lot of us learned about it just through blogs or through an industry forum, or maybe just even luck that somebody happened to mention it. Did any of you actually learn about affiliate marketing while you were in school?
Yes, I actually did the majority of my study in Europe, and I studied their marketing management. So in college, I had an early perspective of affiliate marketing as a global ecosystem rather than something that is limited to a single market. And during this digital marketing class, I was first introduced to influencer marketing and affiliate marketing as well, with a lot of real projects, but it was more of a foundational overview. And then what really made the difference was an internship that I did where I worked with several colleges across the US to help to build and launch affiliate programs for a sports company. And that's where I saw how affiliate sits at the intersection of creators, content, and measurable performance. With that experience, I have seen how much more integrated these topics are in the education. So it's very likely that today students already know what is affiliate marketing and they know how to monetize with their platforms.
That is very exciting. Any of the rest of you, any specific, did you take any specific classes on it, or was it touched on in any of the classes that you took?
I didn't take any classes that specifically talked about it, but throughout my internships, like from 2021 to 2023, I remember it coming up more and more often. And one time when I was a earned media intern, one of my coworkers was like, Izzy, you need to go to this summit about like affiliate marketing. Like this is the future. Like this is what I'm going to be. And I was like, I need to Google what that is. So
Love it. Love it. So maybe we as the PMA, we need to work a little harder being a resource for people that are hearing about it in some way, but also trying to figure out like how does this apply to me while I'm in school as well. So all right. So good to know. Good for those of us out here who might be making hiring decisions as well, trying to kind of figure out what people might already know coming in or looking for maybe classes they've taken or things that they've studied as well. So we kind of picked out like some very broad different topics about things that we thought there were maybe generational issues that maybe something the way that I've learned to do something or just the way that I do something by practice is very different from the next generation. And why is it important, for us as marketers? We can't just say, well, when I was young, I used to watch TV and I read a newspaper, and the young people still watch TV and read newspapers. So how different can it be? It's just marketing. It's not the same at all. The way that I learn things, the way that I grew up are very different. The way that I consume media is different than you consume media. The way that I view advertising is different than the way you view advertising. And if I want to be effective at my job as an affiliate marketer, I need to not just understand what I do, what my generation does, but even more importantly, I need to understand what your generation does. So let's talk about the product experience, because obviously as affiliate marketers, one of the biggest things that we're doing is we're trying to sell products. So when you want to buy a new product, do you go to Google first? Or do you go to TikTok or Instagram or something like that? Walk us through what your search process would be when you're looking at buying something.
I can jump in here. My search process usually starts off on TikTok just because I feel like it gives me the quickest answers to what I'm looking for. All of the videos are super short and I can kind of easily identify if this product is going to work in my life. I'm a very visual shopper, so I want to see how the product fits and looks and wears, and I'm just looking for that validation from an actual consumer. And I do enjoy the TikTok community as well, so interacting with people, reading comments like, oh, I was looking for wedding shoes the other week. So of course I went to TikTok and now my entire feed is just wedding shoes. So that's also amazing because the algorithm will just know you so well and feed you content that you actually want to view. But just like viewing comments like, oh, these shoes I wore for 5 hours all night. I'm like, great, I'm going to do more research into this brand and this product. Or maybe coming across not a great comment like, oh my gosh, these gave me a really bad blister. Now, as a consumer, I may be pivoting and looking at their competitor, or, okay, this style isn't for me. I'm going to look at something else. I just feel like TikTok, I love watching videos and unboxing videos and try on hauls and how am I styling this into my everyday life. And if I don't find a lot of content about a product that I'm looking to buy, I'm probably not going to buy it because I'm just honestly like reliant on other people's reviews and experiences, especially if I'm gonna like put my money into a product. I want it to like work well and I want it to like fit into my life, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And while the other panelists are also throwing in their 2 cents, I would love to know what the people watching. Go ahead and fess up. Are you the people that go to Google first? Are you the people that go to TikTok or Instagram first? Where are you going when you're shopping? Because I can just say that everything that Sophia said there, I'm smiling, but I'm also thinking, am I doing all shopping wrong? Because in 100 product searches, I would not have gone to TikTok just by having an account and posting on there. I would never think like, I want to buy a pair of shoes. I'm going to go to TikTok and look for them, because then in my mind, I would think I'm going to have to watch all these people talk about their shoes that ain't nobody got time for that. So again, this was like right in the first question, like major just discrepancies in the way that we approach things, but we're both consumers. So like what we're saying, both of our searches are valid for people that are trying to sell those same shoes. What about the rest of you? Where do you go when it's time to shop?
Yeah, 100%. Just agree with Sophia. Definitely TikTok. Sorry to tell you, Tricia. Definitely TikTok is my starting point. Most of the time, it's also my ending point. If I see enough positive content surrounding something that I'm already on the fence about, I am far more likely to just dive in and indulge. It's almost like a more interactive review site for me where you can see videos, pictures, you can see people's lived-in experiences with products. So TikTok is a little bit more than just entertainment and content, even though that's definitely its sole purpose. It also serves as like an evergreen review site and a review and comparison partner and all of the partners that we know and love all in one.
Izzy, Mattia, is this going to be 4 against 1 here?
Um, I agree with what they say so far. I see with TikTok as well. I actually go on ChatGPT right after just to compare some products, ask them some questions about a specific product that I'm looking for. Especially if I'm looking for a service. For example, if I'm looking for a coffee place that I want to like to explore, I go on TikTok, look for the coffee place, and then I go on ChatGPT and ask what are like the feedback and if he has more information to give me.
I
Okay, I
agree. I
finally feel a
think
kinship here because that's what I do. I do use Gemini and Chat GPT more than anything these days. So thankfully,
Yes.
finally, we're finding a connection here.
Perfect.
I agree with
Izzy?
all of that because I think that for like AI, especially for services and trying to compare, that's like totally how I use it. But like for different, I guess like different niches, like different things I'm looking for, like Sophia was saying specifically about weddings. I think because I'm like, oh, I want my wedding to be aesthetic. I know that people who are posting about their wedding on TikTok are having aesthetic weddings. And so I'm like, I'm gonna go on TikTok and look for these shoes or this wedding product, whatever. So it kind of depends on what the product is, but I definitely do lean on TikTok quite a bit for those like in person, like how does it fit? Those types of questions.
So we've got a lot coming in about Reddit. Talk to me about Reddit and the extent to which you do or don't use Reddit for this kind of thing.
Yeah, I love Reddit. I view it almost as just like another Google, just like another search engine. I think the big thing that's kind of bridging the gap between Gen Z and other generations before us is we really value just the human element. We like knowing that a real person who's just like us is writing a real experience as opposed to more sponsored styles.
I like that.
I agree. I use Reddit all the time too, whether it's like Googling a keyword and putting Reddit at the end of it and getting all these niche threads. Again, like I just really value like people on Reddit are anonymous, so they can be kind of harsh and they can just give it to you straight. And that's kind of just like what I'm looking for, especially if I'm making like a big investment on something. I'm just looking for those like honest reviews and that validation. But I do use Reddit consistently as well.
All right. So, kind of along these same lines, let's talk about inauthentic and authenticity, which is really big for your generation. Um, Gen Z is famously good at spotting inauthentic brand deals. What's a specific red flag in a sponsored post that would make you immediately lose interest in something?
I think for this one of the first things that popped out to me was actually TikTok, funny enough. Because I think there's like, in a way, I feel like I've been trained to like hear like marketing copy now from like these like TikTok creators. They're using like specific words like it's a game changer. That one specifically, I'm like, oh, okay, well, it doesn't necessarily mean that I'm like not gonna watch the video or not gonna like the product, but I might just think that it's less authentic, like we were saying. And along those same lines, I think this one more so I've seen on Instagram, but some of the creators I follow are very like value heavy creators. Like they share their opinions about stuff or their values around sustainability or like underconsumption. And there's like one in particular that this made me think of was like someone who partnered with a fast fashion brand and she got a lot of flack because her entire thing like prior to that was like here's what I'm not buying this year and kind of like this like under consumption stuff and then everyone's like hey like you realize this is a fast fashion brand and of course she realized like or hopefully she did some research into it but that kind of felt like she's like using her audience that she's built up and like kind of like milking you or something when you already have this like loyalty to them for the values that they're aligned with. So those are some things that I don't, I don't respect that totally, but I do think that there's like some authenticity mismatch there. And another example that I had for that was actually when it comes to like our culture or social issues. I remember in college, we kind of did a project on this, and someone showed the Kendall Jenner Pepsi ad where she's like at a protest and she like leaves her modeling gig and hands a police officer a Pepsi, and everybody like hugs and claps and like high fives. And I remember like laughing at it because it just felt so like out of touch, and in a way it felt insensitive, but like I was more so laughing at it like, who thought this was a good idea? Like what was going through their head? And those are the types of things that I don't know if it's necessarily just Gen Z. Maybe it's people who are like informed consumers or something. But I do think that we have grown up in this space, so have gotten better at clocking it like immediately almost.
Yeah, definitely agree with Izzy. I think what's going on right now with like the burgers of it of all of the fast food CEOs is a timely example, similar to the Kendall Jenner in the Pepsi solving world peace. If you're not familiar, the McDonald's CEO filmed a video. It was very, very scripted. He was basically reading off of his script, introducing their new burger. He clearly did not want to eat this burger. He was visibly kind of grossed out by it. He wouldn't even call it the burger. He would call it their product. It was just very uncomfortable for everyone watching. And it had that same Kendall Jenner reaction of why did no one on their team stop this? Like, who is this selling this burger product to? Like, it was pretty bad. But on the flip side, Burger King kind of just piled on top of that in a very authentic way. They had their CEO, who obviously was passionate about their burgers, actually take a big old bite. He made a few jokes. It was definitely off the cuff. And that resonated a lot more. We're not saying as Gen Zers don't do sponsored content, don't pump it out. I mean, most of us have been on social media since we were like preteens. We kind of just
Right.
joined it when it was being created. So it's just very much ingrained in who we are. And we're very good at just filtering out sponsored content one way or another. But make sure that what you're doing is one, just well-rounded and that you're a little engaged with the correct audience.
Yeah, Kelly is making a good point about how sometimes the older generations with AI, authenticity, everything is not as good at even scoping it. Like we don't even see it. Outing my mom because I know she doesn't bother watching any of my webinars. She's the perfect example. The number of things that she posts that are AI or something that she doesn't even realize aren't real. Whereas your generation would look at that and within 1 second, you would know that that's not something worth reposting because you know that that's not real. Like, you have a better eye for spotting what's real, what's not, what's authentic, and what's not. We do have a question that came in for the panel. How much do the opinions of celebrities affect your decision-making process?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think there's certain celebrities definitely have almost like a cult style following, like take Taylor Swift, for example. There are people who are just so enamored by her that anything she's associated with, they're going to purchase 100% of the time just because her name's associated. So you do, it comes more of down to a question of if you're trying to get Gen Z, are you aligning your brand with a celebrity who has that level of following by Gen Z? And is your goal just a one-time consumer, just a big surge from being associated with a celebrity? Or are you trying to create more long-lasting customers who are going to come back and have a lifetime conversion for the brand? If that's your goal, the celebrity route may not be the best way to go, especially, I mean, we know the culture today is ever changing with who's on the right side of what, who's on the wrong side of what. We are big in cancel culture right now. So aligning yourself with a celebrity is definitely a risky move, um, if you're looking for the long time consumer.
Are there any other red flags that any of you see, whether it's in terms of authenticity or even as the people watching are talking about with AI? Are there things that specifically those kind of red flags that you look at and you immediately know like this is not real or this is not authentic?
I think as far as like celebrities and authenticity go, sometimes it's more so like if I start to imagine the celebrity using this product or like benefiting from this, and then I'm like, this would not, they do not vacuum their house. Like Kendall Jenner does not vacuum her house. Like, don't try to sell me vacuum, whatever. But like if it's the alignment thing again, but it's also the fact that like we know they live different lives than us. If this isn't something that would actually impact them, then how can I trust that what they're saying like is true or something that I should, go off of when I'm making a purchase or, trying to research a brand. So it does depend on the celebrity and the circumstances, I guess. But I would say sometimes if the celebrity is someone that I like especially look up to or align my values like with theirs, and they're like, oh, I really love this company because they recycle this or whatever, that could win me over.
So along those lines, we're talking about celebrity. Let's talk about creators, influencers in general, because obviously within our industry, everyone's trying to figure out where to put these dollars, which influencers, which creators they should be working with, where to get the most bang for their buck. We have a lot of affiliate managers that are watching who are going to want to know the answer to this question. Do you find yourself more likely to trust a recommendation from a nano creator, meaning someone with around 2,000 followers, or one of the mega influencers that may have millions? So, which do you personally trust their recommendations and why?
I can start with this one. I feel like I generally trust recommendations from smaller creators just because, maybe they're creating content for fun. They're not relying on brand partnerships for to support their lifestyle or their work. They're receiving, they have a niche community that they're trying to build up. Maybe they're buying the products with their own money instead of getting things sent in PR. So I think there's like a general sentiment that smaller creators have the opportunity to be more honest. But I will say it depends on the creator. There is one creator that comes to mind called The Glow Narrative, and she does beauty reviews on TikTok, and she has 500,000 TikTok followers. So she's definitely a really big creator. However, I think what differentiates her is that she comes out saying, I'm not afraid to get kicked off PR lists in almost every single one of her videos. And so that is such a strong statement to me, knowing that she probably has brand partnerships and she's maybe not afraid to ruffle some feathers because she's just going to give an honest review of what she actually thinks. And as a consumer, that's really what I'm looking for. And it doesn't have to be like product feedback in every single video, but she really builds that statement up as a brand for herself. And so I know that I can go to her page and trust her recommendations. Whether it's, I really love the color of this lip gloss, but I really don't like the smell. Just those like little pieces of honesty go a long way because, like we've mentioned, we're so used to these like marketing scripts of this is a game changer or this is the perfect product for you. I'm obsessed with this. You need this in your makeup drawer. It doesn't really mean anything to me anymore. So when I find a creator who actually is honest and authentic, which is, a little overused, but it sticks with me. And then I know that I can like actually trust what she's recommending. And this can be from a creator with 5,000 followers or 500,000 followers.
Yeah, I agree with Sophia, definitely. I would say that I will prefer recommendation from nano creators just because I feel that they are more relatable with my experiences and my lifestyle as well. Um, and also, I don't really trust when creators have the feed full of partnership. Makes me to like swipe immediately because I see that they keep collaborating with brands and brands and I want to see more creativity. I want to see what they have to show. So sometimes it's better to look for smaller creators that don't have that many partnerships for sure. I remember that in college, I used to follow this creator. She had like 1 million followers. She was my age. And she was promoting like a luxury spa in the Dolomites. I'm like, cool, that's very cool. But in this moment, I cannot afford that place. So for sure, that was not the right audience for the brand because she was more a Gen Z creators. So definitely, if I am a brand, I would love to look for creators that have the same audiences I'm trying to reach.
Any other specific? No. Well, I have a follow-up question for you here that came in. So, what do you do as a marketer when a brand only wants you to work with the bigger creators? Do you try to change their minds?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a question that depends a lot on the brand's goals. Are they just trying to get impressions? Are they trying to get views? If that is the main goal, just an awareness, purely focused awareness campaign, I mean, let's make sure that we're aligning with the right creator from a PR standpoint and a relevant audience standpoint. But yeah, let's go for it. If it's more of a conversion, more of a full funnel approach that we're trying to build out, definitely, I think it's something that needs to be stacked. There are, like Sophia said, plenty of large creators who almost use their large scale and their profitability as a way to angle themselves as authentic. They're in a place where they don't need to say yes to the deal just because of the money. And their audience knows that. They have enough money to fall back on. They can say how they feel. And if they get cut off some PR list or lose commissions or don't get a flat fee, they'll be a-okay. So definitely there's a way to work with both in an authentic space. It definitely just takes a lot of being familiar with what creator you're doing while keeping the goals of the brand in mind.
That's all right. Now, a completely different type of issue. Let's talk about communication between the generations. In the professional world, we tend to live in our inboxes. In your personal life and with your peers, is email still a relevant way to communicate, or has it been completely replaced by DMs and messaging apps?
Yeah, happy to jump in here. I mean, for work, email, of course, is not going anywhere. It's pretty unavoidable. However, in my experience, it's mostly an external communication tool. If I'm talking to my team members or we're just all chit-chatting a little bit, it's mostly going to be happening via like Slack or Teams, which just feels more natural. I think in our personal lives, I'd be floored if any of us choose to talk to our friends or boyfriends, girlfriends, whomever via email. I don't think in my entire life anyone socially has ever asked for my email address. So I would definitely be a little jarred by that. I think email is definitely just like a work tool, but when you're trying to cultivate better relationships with your team members and take things on a more personal level, it just makes sense to do that over Teams just because it's familiar. You can react, you can use emojis, you can just type the way as you are.
Yeah, I agree with Danielle. We use Slack, so we're always sending funny emojis and GIFs and building up that team culture, whereas emailing's more reserved for like those formal partnerships and conversations with clients and partners. And in my personal life, I don't really email like my friends or my family. Maybe my dad will email me an article and I'm like, you could have texted me that, but that's okay. So it's just like funny things like that. But I will say I do interact with brands via email. So I'm a big shopper. So I'm always looking at like new arrivals, emails coming in my inbox from like Aritzia or Reformation. And I think it's engaging. And I don't know if anyone's familiar with Reformation, but they're a fashion brand and they have such a witty and funny brand voice. Their copy is just like so funny and it just makes you want to click on it. So I think in my personal life, like I obviously use email and I use it to interact with brands to shop. But in terms of like communication, I'll use different apps like Instagram or TikTok or just like texting my friends and family on the daily.
That a question that came in that goes along with this. Agree that communication socially likely isn't happening in the inbox, but curious if Gen Z finds value in the newsletters for news, shopping, or personal takes.
Yeah, definitely for shopping, like Sophia said, exactly that. I like seeing if there's a sale going on at a brand that I frequent. I mean, I'm going to be subscribed to their newsletters anyway, so you might as well open it up and see the sale and see what's happening. And maybe it can give you a little incentive to convert. But news, I mean, you all are gonna hate this. It's social media. That's that's where we're getting our news. It's just the reality. Our TikTok feed is just keeping us up to date on current events. If we need more information, we'll Google it. I think that's just the reality of where we're at. Definitely, I think just brand updates is really the only use for email for people of our age, but anyone else jump in if you have other uses.
How often do you check it? Is email something that you're still checking constantly as much as you're checking your other apps?
Definitely not as much, but a few times a day for sure.
So, kind of a personal question. Um, in a given day, what apps are you using to talk to your friends? So, kind of mentioned a couple, but like in a given day, if you had to make a list of all the places that your friends might be communicating with you, what all would that include?
I think
I
that
think
I'm,
sorry.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think I'm gonna be on the minority maybe here because I do think it's like on its way out. But I do use Snapchat particularly to talk to my like college friend group because a lot of them had Androids and then like a lot of us had Apple phones. So we kind of wanted to have it like all in one place so new group chats weren't being made all the time. So we do use Snapchat and then they're also like a gaming friend group. So we're also on Discord, but personally, I would probably not use Discord if I wasn't friends with these people who like to game a lot. But as far as like messaging goes, it's mostly text messaging and Snapchat.
Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned Snapchat because actually in Europe, Snapchat is completely gone. I remember it was popular like in high school when I was around 15, 16, but now it's completely gone. I don't know even why, but I remember that as soon as Instagram story came, we decided to not use Snapchat anymore for some reason. So we use a lot WhatsApp actually. We don't even use messages like the normal of the messages you have on the iPhone, but we use mostly WhatsApp and Instagram DMs.
Oh my goodness, there's so many places. How are you keeping track of all of these? All of your friends in all these places and all these different apps and trying to keep up with all of it. And then also having your Teams and your Slack and your email for all of your professional stuff as well. Anything else? Let's see if we have any questions on that. All right. Well, again, jumping to a completely different topic from this, let's talk about attention spans. So, a lot of times in advertising, we talk about the 8 second attention span. As a consumer, how long do you actually give a video to hook you before you swipe away? And as a marketer, how's that changed the way that you build campaigns?
I can jump in here. So I would say that even 3 seconds for me are enough to decide if I want to swipe or stay on a video. Yeah, because I mean, we grew up as a generation with the screens since we were like kids, basically. So nowadays, I think that the hook is very important. I personally find interesting the video that start from the end and they create a sort of a loop. A creator that is very good with this is Zach King with 84 million followers. And now this technique is used with recipes video or like routine vlog where they start from the end and then they tell you the whole story. So that's what sparks my curiosity a lot. I also have to say that if a video is very interesting, I will go in the creator profile and look for more. And if I'm very interesting, I will go on YouTube to look for a longer version of the video because just I want to have more information maybe. Um, uh, what I think is not working with like brands and partnership, as I said, are overload the profile with partnerships. So if sometimes I scroll TikTok and I see the same creators twice sponsoring something different, that what makes me to swipe and move on the video. So I would say that now campaigns are changing and the brands should start looking for a strong hook and then work with creators that have a real and authentic voice and avoid overload the profile and that have too many partnerships already.
Yeah, I definitely agree with the 2 to 3 seconds timeline. I think if right away it's just not interesting, I'm just scrolling away. There's definitely no shortage of content. So why stick around? I think older generations and even marketers as a whole, when discussing Gen Z, love to kind of chalk this up to Gen Z has a short attention span. I don't necessarily agree. I think we just have the luxury of having so much content readily available, and we always have. that we just kind of developed like a valuable filter in our brain where we can just tell very quickly and filter things out. Like valuable to me, valuable to what I'm looking for, entertaining, whatever. And if it's not, we kind of just have no need to watch it and consume it. It's not like we grew up with cable TV where what's on is what's on. You're stuck with it. There's three channels. Uh, you're stuck consuming it no matter what. We almost have the opposite where we can just filter things out within a second decision.
And as Mattia mentioned, you could go and watch more of it if you wanted to,
Yeah.
if you find something that actually interests you. And he actually brought up a good point, which is YouTube, which we haven't mentioned at all during any of this. Which, how has it not come up? Do you watch YouTube? Do you regularly watch it? Do you use it as a source for searching things, or are you using it mainly for entertainment as opposed to product search? And that's why we didn't mention it before. So talk to me just a little bit about, when you would watch YouTube for something.
I personally watch YouTube more as an entertainment channel rather than a search. If I have to search something again, I would go on TikTok. But YouTube, I think the most entertaining content for me are like vlogs or like routines or travel vlogs as well. Yeah.
I would agree that I use YouTube a lot. I would say it's probably mostly for entertainment, but somewhat educational. Like I've definitely used it for, tutorials and stuff for things for work or like learning, how to do your makeup or whatever. But there are creators that I've followed on YouTube since I was like 12 that I still watch to this day. So I think I have a lot of like loyalty to YouTube. And it is interesting because as we were talking about the 8-second attention span. Like, I don't know if this is the difference between me and my younger siblings who are like 14, but they do not watch YouTube at all. And I watch so much YouTube, and it is a longer, format for content on there. And you're not necessarily getting like the hook of a YouTube video. You're making your decision based off of the thumbnail and the title, which recently I've seen a lot of creators experimenting more with the thumbnail and the title, like changing them an hour after the video is uploaded and stuff like that. So being on the brand side of things or, someone who's uploading content myself, that's been kind of fun to see.
You raised a really good point. Even the difference between you and a younger sibling, and looking through like some of the comments that are coming in, and knowing a lot of these people's ages and my age, and the difference between somebody who goes to Google, somebody who goes to Reddit, somebody who goes to TikTok. Like we're talking about 10 years, not even a generational gap. It's slices of 10 years at a time of what different people are using at this point, which probably makes it even harder for those of you managing programs to kind of figure out, like, we're targeting the 30 to 40, 30 to 50, the 20 to 40 range. Well, part of them use Reddit, part of them use Google, and some of them may even be going to Instagram or to TikTok. So, yeah, we're almost talking in not even generational terms for something like this. We're talking about very thin slices, and maybe even from a country standpoint, as Mattia had mentioned, that like Kelly mentioned that her high schoolers are still using Snapchat. I still use Snapchat with like my daughter and a couple of friends, but I'm not meeting new people. It's just kind of legacy conversations. But then maybe in other countries, it's just something that isn't even used at all. It's kind of peaked and it's gone now. So a lot of differences between like the country wise and also WhatsApp. You mentioning the only WhatsApp group that I'm in is because it's a group from the UK. Other than that, like everybody in the US that I talk to, none of them were not none of us are communicating through WhatsApp. But the one group that I'm in is a group coming out of Europe. So a lot of differences that aren't just generational as well, but geographical. Let's see. Let's go into our next question. I think we have some more coming in from the audience as well, which is fantastic. Let's talk about AI, because as I have been mentioning in my PMA meetings, we can't have a webinar without talking about AI these days. It's touching absolutely everything we do. So do you trust AI generated recommendations as much as you would human recommendations?
Yeah, I can take over this one. I think we kind of touched on this earlier, but I use it in a different way. I use AI in a different way than I guess use or utilize human recommendations, which is kind of that I use it for comparing and contrasting two things, like what are the pros and cons of this service versus this service. And I've used it before, like to compare software that I wanted to use for work because I was trying to do like deeper research to make this decision with something that's not my money. So I felt like a little bit more responsibility to do that correctly. And I've even been burned by that before because sometimes I've realized that I need to rely less on just using AI for that and need to go to Reddit, like we were talking about. Look up the name of the software and then Reddit after, just Google that, because I've actually subscribed to plans before where I specifically chose it because I thought it had a certain feature and I asked ChatGPT and it was like, yep, it has this feature. And then I get in there and it doesn't actually have that feature. I went back and looked at the sources from ChatGPT and it like wasn't even mentioned in them. So I think that kind of goes to the thing of like, it's looking to please you. If you guys have heard that before, that ChatGPT is, looking to give you like the perfect recommendation or match you up to it. And sometimes I guess that can just be completely made up. So I do still use like Reddit and human recommendations in that way. But going back to the influencers and creators like route, I also have things that I would just automatically trust. Like there's a PT, a physical therapist on YouTube that I've been watching for like years. And it's because he makes a lot of educational content about like being flat-footed or like how to do squats when you're really tall or whatever. And I trust his content on that. And when I was looking for shoes for running, I specifically found one of his videos and immediately bought them. Like I barely looked at anything else, barely looked at the reviews and bought them because I was like, oh, I trust what he has to say. Like I've been watching him for years. So there's still that too. I think I use them in different forms of like maybe product discovery. Like, does this product even exist? Is something I might look up using like ChatGPT versus like trusting the creator and inherently making the decision that way.
Yeah, I agree. I think I take AI recommendations with a grain of salt because I've also had an experience where it gave me an answer and I was looking at the sources and I was like, I don't know where this answer came from because it's not in these articles. So I think I use it more of like, am I on the right track? And I use it as just like another like source of, okay, I have these products in mind or I'm trying to research this. Like, let's see what, chat has to say about it. But I definitely take it with a grain of salt for sure.
Right. Well, we have a follow-up from the last topic that we were talking about from Laura, and that is when filtering content out in 2 to 3 seconds, how do you advise brands to reach consumers that need more than that amount of time to relay their branding or messaging?
Yeah, happy to jump in here. I think you just have to start with a bang. You have to start with the most. This isn't a commercial, it's a little different structure. Where a commercial you have 30 seconds, people are stuck watching it. You can kind of showcase your story or your brand messaging over that time and make a very beautiful segment. With this, you have to start with the most entertaining portion of the ad and then almost work backwards. So you have to just tackle it in a little bit of a different way. You're kind of starting with the most entertaining part, the most engaging part, whatever that might be for your brand, and then almost work backwards to say, okay, here's our brand. This is how cool it is. This is how it came to be. So it's just a little bit of a different structure.
And
I
that
would
sounds like that kind of goes with what Mattia was saying about the loop of the show the recipe first and then
Yeah.
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 Is he?
Yeah, I was gonna say I totally agree with that. I also think with it being entertaining, like maybe rather than just entertaining, it could also be like, where do you think the audience is going to find the most value first? Like, what statement is going to be the most valuable to them, whether it be the value of entertainment or the value of education or you solving a problem for them. So, if you can keep the audience in mind and the audience maybe centered rather than just being able to convey your brand messaging, I think that goes a long way for authenticity and people sticking around and wanting to support those kinds of connections.
I like that. Yeah, good question. Seems like a big challenge. It's getting 2 to 3 seconds and also trying to hook somebody in and knowing how easy it is for them just to swipe right on to the next person. So as we're kind of talking about these brands, let's talk about legacy brands who are trying to make this jump, who want to make sure that they're marketing to your generation for a lot of reasons. Because you all have money to spend, you're going to have even more, but also just because you might be their target audience and they're not really used to having to change their marketing with every single generation that comes along. If you could, if you could change one thing about the way that legacy brands approach affiliate marketing today to make them more appealing to your generation, what would it be?
I can jump in here. So I would say that we are seeing the shift already with some brands, legacy brands like Apple, for example, on TikTok. If you go now on the profile, you see contents that feel random and informal, but they are working very well. And I think that because brands should act more as a human rather than a distant company. So I think they should go on the platform and interact with the creators, with the audiences, and comment under the videos is very helpful. Do a lot of social listening. I have seen a lot of creators that they don't have any partnership with the brand, but they maybe are reviewing a product and they say, "Hey, listen, this is not a sponsored content, but if the brand is interesting, I would love to work with you." And you see under the video a lot of people that start to comment and tag the brand. And that's when the brand should step in and maybe do a funny comment, or like reach out the creators and maybe start a collaboration in the future. So even like a small comment, a small interaction with the community and with the creators can help the brand to shift this, like I would say that they behave more as a company rather than humans, because we want to watch also brands as a human rather than just companies.
Like that.
Yeah, definitely agree there that there needs to be a level of like humanity associated with brands. I think a brand who's doing a really great job current day of this is Tarte, the makeup brand. They're just have an always on content strategy. You can't scroll more than a half hour on TikTok without stumbling across something Tarte related, no matter what's going on. They're just always there. They're embedded in the culture. So if they do want to hop on a trend or something that's happening, it doesn't just catch the world by surprise because, of course, Tarte's on TikTok. We know that they're on TikTok. We see them every day. Um, Also, to the humanity piece, I think Tarte does a great job at this with their tripping with Tarte trips. They're not necessarily monitoring what the influencers or creators who they're taking on their trips are posting. They're just taking them, giving them creative liberty to create content that they usually would create. Just they just happen to be on a Tarte sponsored trip. Maybe there's a Tarte pillow in the background. Maybe there's a Tarte blanket behind them. Something of the sort. So I think just restoring creative liberty to the partners is definitely key just because it humanizes what brands are doing and it just feels more authentic. It's more relatable. People are just interacting with creators like they would any other day.
Well, let's talk a little bit more then about creators and influencers and talk to me about the growing role of creator influencer in affiliate marketing. There's a lot of people who have been managing affiliate programs for a long time. They're getting these questions from the brands, why aren't we working more with creators? What should we be doing more? So let's talk a little bit about that growing the growing role within the affiliate marketing industry that influencer has kind of come in and into our space.
Yeah, I think that there's kind of a big advantage there for like creator and influencer partnerships because people are following the creator or the influencer. I'm specifically thinking of TikTok and some of the like affiliates and stuff that I follow, but because you have like a personal view into their life, like you feel like you have a window into the behind the scenes and everything. So they have all this whole audience that's like cheering them on that feels connected to them, and might even be cheering on partnerships that they have with brands, being like, oh, that's such a big win for you. So I think that's a big advantage that there is there, like the human aspect that we were kind of talking about with brands. And there's also like an aspirational element. Something there that came to mind for me was the American Eagle creator community, which they focus a lot, or they used to focus a lot on UGC, and now they have this big creator community that it looks all like UGC, and I think a lot of it is too, but it's also like the everyday model. Like people who look like you are now models for American Eagle and are having their pictures put on like big billboards and signs and everything. So there's that aspirational element of like, if I wanted to do that, if I put my mind to it, or worked hard to build this platform for myself, like that could be me. And that's like a real thing that people connect to rather than just a product or the values of a brand.
So you mentioned UGC, and that's actually a generational difference as well that I'm going to ask you to explain what that is, because for my generation, UGC was a coupon site like Retail Me Not, allowing user-generated content of people that were adding the coupons to that site, or who had a forum, and then the users were adding the deals or whatever to the forum. But that's not the UGC that you're referring to. It's something different. So what is that particular one, Izzy?
Yes, the UGC I'm referring to is more aligned with what we've been talking about from TikTok, I guess, is that the affiliates who are making the content about products that they use from day to day. It doesn't even have to be affiliate content. Like I actually work with UGC that we end up using later, repurposing for meta ads, just as like little clips or B-roll, stuff like that, but is used as an asset by the brand or in creator partnerships. And I think a lot of it now is video. Like most of the time when I'm thinking about it or when it's referenced, it's in videos. So, I think a lot of like mom talk, if anybody's familiar, like the Tush baby carrier that's like a fanny pack, and all of their UGC. I don't have a baby. I watch their videos consistently. I'm like, when I have a kid, I'm getting a Tush baby. It looks so easy to carry a little baby that way. So like it can really win you over because you're able to see it in your life a little bit more. But I didn't even really think about the fact that the UGC, like the term, has changed over the years. So that's an insight for me too.
So we're actually, our influencer council is working on a white paper on UGC because of this very issue, because I think a lot of people that have been in the industry for a while don't understand what that means. And we do have a blog post from, I think, a week or two ago from Stephanie Robbins and Cass Scarbeck that's on our blog, that's on whitelisting. So kind of along the same lines, that kind of touches UGC a little bit and explains a little bit more about whitelisting. So if any of you who are watching and don't understand what that means, that would be a good thing for you to go and take a look at. Do you have another question that has come in here as well from Laura? The creator economy has helped shape brand perception. What would you do if a creator you followed wanted to cancel a brand that you were managing? So, creator economy has helped shape brand perception. What would you do if a creator you followed wanted to cancel a brand that you were managing? So, it's a little tricky, right? There's a lot of that going on in terms of the cancellation of the brands for lots of different reasons these days. So, how do you think that you would handle a situation like that?
Yeah, I think there's definitely no guidebook to how you handle that. And I think that's always a risk that you inadvertently are assuming anytime that you work with creators, or transparently anytime you're in the public space. I think public opinion is always shifting, sometimes for the better, sometimes in some people's opinions for the worse. And you definitely just have to remain honest, remain authentic, react appropriately as best as you can with the information that you're given. So, if a brand feels passionately that they're in the right, totally okay to just stand up for yourself. However, if a creator, say, is saying they had a bad experience partnering with you, like Mattia said, it's okay to drop a comment. It's okay to be public in that space. It's okay to say, hey, check your DMs. Just show that you're there, you're listening, you're hearing, that you're taking ownership of your mistakes. A lot of it does just tie back to the human nature that we've been talking about. Just handle it how any good human would. If you make a mistake, I mean, all of us at some point do, just take ownership of that mistake, sincerely apologize, and find the best way forward to rectify those actions. I think just doing that goes a long way.
And presumably, hopefully, the lawyer in me says you had a really good contract that allows for these types of situations. So that at least from a contractual standpoint, if you have to take some kind of action, you're able to take that action. So I do have two questions of a personal nature, again, for all of you, coming from me personally with conversations I've been having with other people my age. Number one, periods at the end of sentences. Is this a problem? If someone puts the period at the end of the sentence, do you assume that they're mad at you, or is it like demanding or something? Or is it totally okay for us to be sending you Slack messages and putting periods at the end of our sentences?
Oh, I think it totally depends who. I mean, if if my mom or like someone sends it, I'm just like, whatever, that's my mom. Like I know that's how she talks. Um, I think you're either a period user or you're not. I mean, my boss personally at work is not a period user. If she messaged me something proper punctuation, I would definitely be a little nervous. Um, so I think just you just gotta pick one.
So you kind of expect from the person that's saying it, if it's somebody that you know uses periods, you're just like, fine, they're
Yeah,
not mad
that's
at
how
me. They
they
use them
type.
all the time.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody who doesn't usually use them and then they do use it, the period to you denotes we have a
Yeah.
problem.
Like something serious is going on and you can tell via the
Yeah.
punctuation.
Or to complicate it further, if it's like a one-line message, like a text message, and it's just one line, I'm like, that doesn't need a period. Why'd you put a period at the end of that? Like, if it's just like three words, I'm like, are you mad at me? But it does depend on the person. I do use periods, especially like in my work communication and everything. But yeah, I think with my friends, if they were suddenly using a lot of punctuation, I'd be like, what happened? Like, are we fighting?
All right. And then also, what kind of reactions are we allowed to use in Slack and Teams? Like this thumbs up thing, we're not supposed to be doing that now. We're supposed to be using something besides a thumbs up. We use a heart, we use a fire. Like, what things are we supposed to be using and not supposed to be using?
I
Use
think the
them
thumbs
all.
up. Oh, yeah, go ahead, but please.
I was just gonna say use them all. As
Yeah,
long as they're
up
positive.
on, I think the thumbs up on Slack it works. It doesn't work like in the like day-to-day messages. That's when I feel like, oh, that's rude. But in Slack, it's totally
So, day to day messages, no thumbs up. Slack, it's
no.
okay if you're agreeing with something within Slack or
Maybe like
Teams.
a heart if you want to express the same feeling, like a heart works in the day-to-day messages. Not like the red heart, but the heart with the end, or like
More
another color.
rules.
Not red heart also.
Oh my
That's
goodness, no
true.
red hearts.
I think at work it's okay. At work, a thumbs up is okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A heart's okay at work. All of those are okay
I
at work.
think
If you're just thumbs upping a message I'm sending you via iMessage, like via text, it's a little shady.
yeah. Like thumbs up is like an acknowledgement. If you're like liking what they're saying, then you should use a heart. But like if you're just acknowledging, you're like, I got that message, like I saw this or whatever, I'd say a thumbs up is good. Anything is probably fine for work, except for, yeah, I think some people get a little bit scared off by the red heart. So maybe stick to like pink hearts or
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad I asked that question because I'm a red heart girl all over the place. So maybe I need to think. I was trying to move away from the thumbs up into the heart, but apparently I'm using the red heart. So I can't thank you enough for joining me today. I think we've all learned a lot from you, genuinely. Like a lot of things you're talking about are things that we just necessarily don't think about on a day-to-day basis in the way that we work. So tell me real quickly, tell the people who are watching where they can find you, how they can get in touch with you. Mattia.
Uh, Simply with LinkedIn. If you have my profile, my name is Mattia Romano, or otherwise you can reach out to me via my professional email. It's mromano@sovrn.com. I can spell if it's. I know that my last name is foreign, so I can definitely spell if someone needs my surname, like last name.
Sofia.
Yes, you can find me on LinkedIn or shoot me an email at sophia@altamediapartners.com.
Danielle.
Yeah, LinkedIn messages are always open, or my work email is danielle.haff@dentsu.com.
Izzy.
Awesome. I'm also using LinkedIn. My name on LinkedIn is actually Isabella Williams, but I think it does say like Izzy in parentheses. And my work email is izzy@scooch.com if you ever want to reach out.
All right. And we did have a couple of questions I think that came in that we didn't get a chance to get to. If our panelists can go in afterwards and kind of take a look through the things, you'll probably be interested in a lot of the comments that were coming in anyway about some of the things you were saying. Lots of interesting comments in there. For those of you who are watching, thank you so much for watching and supporting the PMA. We're going to be right back in a couple of weeks with another webinar on fintech, and then we're going to have some influencer webinars coming up in the next month after that as well. So please follow us on LinkedIn, follow the PMA.org. Thank you all so much for coming.